The UN's Children's Agency says 50 children have been killed in 48 hours in Jabalia in northern Gaza, which has been under intense Israeli attack for weeks. UNICEF's director, Catherine Russell, said it was another example of the grave consequences of indiscriminate strikes on civilians. She said the entire population of northern Gaza was at imminent risk of death from disease, famine and ongoing bombardments. Ms. Russell also accused Israel of targeting a UNICEF worker's car with a drone. The worker, who was unhurt, was involved in a polio vaccination drive in northern Gaza that had just restarted after the WHO was forced to postpone it in October because of heavy Israeli bombardments, mass displacement and lack of access in the region. Shortly after the vaccination program restarted, a strike on one of the clinics injured 6 people, including 4 children. While Israel is also continuing its military operations against the Iran-backed group Hezbollah inside Lebanon. Lebanon's Prime Minister Najib Mikati has called for an investigation into the kidnapping of a Lebanese citizen by Israeli Navy commandos in the northern coastal city of Batroun. Imad Amhaz, who's reported to be a senior member of Hezbollah's naval force, was taken from his home by more than 20 men in uniform on Friday. CCTV footage shows the group hurrying the abducted man away before departing in speedboats. The Israeli military confirmed that one of its commando units carried out the raid. Our Middle East correspondent John Donnison says there are no signs of a ceasefire deal on the ground. Here's the latest from him.
Well, it's pretty awful, certainly according to UNICEF. As you say, they're saying 50 children killed in just the last 2 days. You have to remember, of course, it's now more than 2 weeks since the United States issued that sort of ultimatum to Israel, 30-day ultimatum to try and get more aid into northern Gaza, where the humanitarian situation is desperate, and there's no real sign of that being able to continue significantly enough while you've got this ongoing fighting. Now, Palestinians say that Israel is carrying out ethnic cleansing in northern Gaza, trying to drive people out of that area. Israel insists that it's going after Hamas, who has been regrouping there, but you know, civilians are undoubtedly getting caught up in the fighting. We've had this strike on a clinic, a health clinic in Jabalia yesterday, where Palestinian officials are saying 6 people were injured, and that was one of the clinics where this polio vaccination campaign is underway. So it's a very, very difficult situation across Gaza, but especially in northern Gaza.
And what more do we know about this Israeli operation to capture a Hezbollah operative in a naval raid?
Yeah, and this was right up in the north of Lebanon, so a long operation, a long-distance operation. It involved Israeli Navy commandos, and they seized this senior Hezbollah commander, who they have now brought back, presumably to be interrogated here in Israel. We've not seen an operation like this so far into the north of Lebanon since the conflict there escalated in the last month or so. So it is still very much ongoing, and Israel feels it's got Hezbollah on the back foot, and it's continuing its operation there.
Yeah, and John, meanwhile, earlier on in the week, several days ago, there was talk of a possible ceasefire deal between Israel and Hezbollah. What's the latest on ceasefire talks there and for Gaza?
Well, let's start with Hezbollah in Lebanon. I mean, we have seen US diplomats in the region this week with some sort of ceasefire proposal, but it's certainly not taken hold at the moment. And as for Gaza, well, you know, we've been talking about a ceasefire there for months, frankly, and it hasn't actually come to anything. I think there is a view that perhaps now that Israel has killed the leader of Hamas in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar, a few weeks ago, that Hamas might be more receptive to a ceasefire deal, given that Yahya Sinwar, such a hardliner, is out of the picture. But there's no real sign that it's imminent, any sort of ceasefire deal there.